Hey everyone! So today in this video I'm going to show you how I make veggie pot pie. So I start off with half of a yellow onion. I dice that up pretty fine and toss it into a large pot because we're going to use the onions to start off the saute for the potatoes. I'm going to be using red potatoes and I've already cleaned them, washed them off and cut off the imperfections. So here you'll just see me dicing them into cubes and adding them to the pot. So that's all I'm going to do for now, along with adding in some chopped frozen celery. And that's a key to keeping your produce from going bad. If you have something like celery, go ahead and cut it up and freeze it and put it in a freezer bag and freeze it so that you have it later for soups and stews and things like that. Now it's seasoning time. I'm going to add in some onion powder, ginger powder, coconut aminos. Just give it a quick stir. Then I'm going to add in onion salt, cayenne pepper, 21 seasoning salute, poultry seasoning, and vegan chickenless seasoning from Trader Joe's. I'm going to continue to stir this. I don't measure my seasonings as I cook, so I can't offer that, but I go by how it looks, how it smells, and just how I feel. So just continue to stir so that the potatoes can soften. Alright, now the fun part. I add coconut milk and a bouillon cube to give this the really hearty comfort food feel. So I'm just going to continue to saute the potatoes, let them soften up. And if you see me adding water, that's because I don't like to use oil to saute. I feel like it's unnecessary. You can add water. Just try it out. Hear me out. Try it out. It works. So just continue to add water. So there's my vegetable bouillon cube. I'm going to stir that in, and then I'm going to add the entire can of coconut milk. And then just let that mix, and then you're going to add in nutritional yeast, rosemary, that is dried rosemary, and then also dried thyme. The last three ingredients I added are key to making this hearty and comforting. So just stir that up, put the lid on, and let that cook down. While that's cooking down, my lovely partner is going to be making the biscuit topping. And the topping is pretty much alkaline, other than maybe some of the seasonings. So he's added in some spelt flour, grapeseed oil, Celtic salt. What's next? Agave is going in there, and then also seltzer water. We use seltzer water because we aren't using yeast or anything to make it rise. The bubbles from the seltzer water really help when you're making any sort of dough and you don't want to add any yeast or baking soda or anything like that. However, the key ingredient to this is sea moss gel. Yes, sea moss gel. Plain sea moss gel. If it's cleaned really well and prepared like it should be, then it won't have a flavor. and you can add it into food as an egg replacement. So that's what we do here for the dough. And then just adding in some more flour, just so that it's not too wet. And as you can see, it's forming a ball of dough. So you can use your hand and knead this, or you can go ahead and just use a spoon like he's doing until you get it to the consistency of your liking. All right, back to this pot that has been going on low. I added in some water because it was pretty thick. And the last seasoning that I like to add is the salt. That's with anything that I cook. I try not to add salt at all, but I do it at the end. So I added a little salt, and then I added an entire package of frozen mixed vegetables. This package had green beans, green peas, corn, and carrots, all chopped. So you'll see me continuing to add water as I stir this, and I'm also going to be adding in a few more seasonings to this, just because I performed a little taste test to see how it was. It was delicious, but I like my food very flavorful. But this is about the consistency you want it, and because I'm adding water, of course, yes, I want to add more seasoning, because water will, take the taste out. It'll dilute it a little bit. So I added a little bit of coconut aminos, some vegan chickenless seasoning from Trader Joe's, and I'm just going to stir. Last step, I'm going to go ahead and spray the baking pan with some coconut oil and then pour in all of the filling and just make sure that it's pretty even. Then I'm going to grab my biscuit dough that we made earlier, and I'm trying to pull it apart, and I realized that I needed parchment paper so that I could spread it easier. So that's what I'm going to do now, is pull out some parchment paper, and I'm just going to spread it with my hand. You don't necessarily need to roll it out unless you want to, but I just spread it with my hand, break it into two to make it easier to handle, flatten it, and then place it right on top of the filling mixture. Once that's done, because my dough is already, there's oil already in it, I don't need to spray it or anything. I'm just going to go ahead and pop it in the oven. This is the finished product after 15 minutes of baking, followed by 5 minutes on broil, just so the top could brown a little bit more. But it's super yummy. Thanks.